You might be able to buy a new home for pennies on the dollar. Hey everybody, Scott Walters, welcome to the channel. If you're new, I want to thank you for coming. If you're returning, I want to thank you for your continued support. Before we get into today's red hot topic, I'm going to politely ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Please watch to the end for my final thought. Hit the bell icon so you're notified when new videos are released. It's very important to stay close to the channel in these very, very tricky times. All right, folks, welcome to the channel. It's always an honor and a privilege to be with you. I hope you're all doing great. So buckle up, strap in, no sugarcoating it, no rainbows and sunshine. Just going to give it to you and give it to you straight. And folks, we have a massive issue going on right now with our economy. We are at a razor's edge, a tipping point. It can't tolerate any more growth. We have it in a chokehold. This is insanity. Are you seeing the things I'm seeing out there? I'm pretty sure you are. So folks, we're going to talk about today. This is a tricky one for sure. Buying real estate pennies on the dollar. And just so you know, this has happened throughout history. We've had booms and busts in the real estate market. So unfortunately, every generation, every bubble has left people in its wake because a lot of people just didn't experience previous bubbles firsthand in a way that maybe let them, be cautious when we got into another real estate bubble. And the reality is most people now admit we're in a real estate bubble. I mean, how can you not? It's become painfully clear. Since the conception of this channel, I sounded the alarm very early, letting you know this is not organic growth. This is market manipulated, overstimulated real estate due to government stimulus programs. Of course, all comes back to the pandemic. Not for the pandemic, we aren't even talking today, most likely. But the reality is when they tried to stimulate the economy by making realtors essential workers and dropping interest rates, the floodgates opened. I had never seen anything. It was shocking. It was just shocking to me to see. That was insanity. I'm just like, wow, are you kidding me? How are people unaware that this doesn't pass the smell test? Agents. Oh my God, I got to work with these agents out there in euphoria, in La La Land. This is normal. Hey, if you understand this is a money grab, I'm cool with that. Hey, whatever. If you can but so many agents are drinking the Kool-Aid themselves, getting under huge house payments. I've seen tons of them. I even considered it at one point when this all broke loose because the herd mentality is whoa, is cheap money. Maybe I should race out and buy at the height of a real estate bubble. Not just any bubble, a super bubble. Not only a super bubble, the biggest bubble ever recorded in world history, artificially produced through government stimulus and stimulus programs? Maybe I should think about that. Maybe I should sleep on that one. Insanity, folks. So just so you know, what we are always going to do our best to be forward thinking, ahead of the curve, a level-headed realist, temperature checking and heat mapping everything we can so we can make sense of what has become a very unsensible marketplace. Insanity. I don't know how many people are out there still thinking this is a great time to buy with inflation going through the roof and all-time highs in prices and a cool off. And just before every correction, recession, or depression is always a cool off. The most recent housing bubble was the exact same thing, skyrocketed prices, then it started to level off, and then we flatlined, and eventually it came down. Why? Because gas prices and everything else rose along with it, and people stuck their necks out on mortgages. And that potentially, friends, brings us to pennies on the dollar. Real estate is potentially right around the corner. And how do I know this, you ask? Well, I'm going to tell you how I know this. Because you cannot place the real estate market in a bubble and expect it to sustain itself historically. So, and as I'm not a betting man, but if I was going to bet on anything right now, I would bet that we have a much higher likelihood of this market correcting than continuing to go up. Now, that's just me. There's plenty of other people that are going to disagree with that, and that's okay. We're allowed to have our own opinions. I'm just an industry guy out here doing his thing who, call it a moment of clarity, whatever you want, that said this doesn't pass the smell test, and we all are seeing that's in fact been the case. It does not pass the smell test on any level. The amount of political and economic and global pain that we are now, who in their right mind could think that this is normal. So it's not. So what we're going to see, in my opinion, just as a forward thinker trying to forecast what potentially could be around the corner, is we're going to see this cool off continue. Eventually, we're going to see some market pain happen in one of the asset classes, if not all of the asset classes at once. And we're going to start spiraling into a recession. Then it'll become a matter of us trying to heat map and temperature check. Is this a correction, a recession, or full-blown depression? If you've watched this channel before, you know I believe there's a much higher likelihood of a depressionary level of a recession because we're in the biggest bubble ever produced in world history. So you would have to, just on that alone, consider and talk about the potential of an actual depressionary level of a recession coming. I personally, if I was a betting man, that's where I would bet on. Now, I would love to be wrong. Oh my gosh, I would love to be wrong. I would love for this euphoria to continue forever. Why? Because I'm a licensed realtor. I can buy and sell real estate for people and make a lot of money doing it. But this is not passing the smell test. So I'm buckling up, I'm strapping in, I'm warning people, I'm suggesting. I would never, like I say, I would never suggest anybody do anything that I'm not doing myself. Personally, I got on the sidelines pretty early, started insulating myself with cash and not racing out and taking big lavish vacations and buying big ticket items and getting under new debt. If we end up in a full-blown recession, it doesn't even have to be a depression. We are going to see a lot of homes going for pennies on the dollar. The challenge is going to be most people are going to be full of fear. They're going to be shrinking back, holding on to any wealth they can to try to just for self-preservation. The heavy hitters will be out there scooping it up. My job and your job, hopefully to help me, is to come to let at least the small audience that we have know this is the time to strike. And final thoughts today, folks. Don't be surprised if we see a downed economy produce a massive onslaught of real estate hitting the market, distressed levels, bank-owned, short sales, foreclosures, you name it. This could be a wild, wild ride. I'm going to do my best to continue to turn this camera on, come talk about this one so we can at least acknowledge it, prepare for it, and then hopefully not be spooked to death by it because many people are going to be in panic mode, and I don't want anybody to get into panic mode, but unfortunately from somebody who's lived through this before, it's gonna happen. So I personally know there's just gonna be areas of the country where you in fact will be able to get real estate for pennies on the dollar. I want us to be less concerned about our own home, more concerned about owning other people's homes, even if we have to look outside our immediate area to go scoop up a property or two, maybe get a renter in there making its payment, little positive cash flow, get our feet wet as an investor. Then later on down the road, right off into the sunset in that dream home. You don't need your dream home now. You need properties now that will eventually produce the dream home later. Rich people got rich by living small first so they could live big later. If you appreciate the content, I do want to humbly ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment below. Social media links are in the description of this video along with other channels I've appeared on I think you will love. If you're watching from your television set today, another video is appearing on your screen along with an easy to subscribe icon for your convenience. As always, thank you for your time. Please go make it count. I'll see you on the next video.